All right, so natural log of x equals 1 plus the natural log of x minus 1. This one's actually really similar to the last one, but some people will get stuck right off the bat just because you can't combine the 1 and the natural log on this side. And as I've mentioned, the addition is kind of your enemy when you're trying to exponentiate. So really the trick here is just to move the logs to one side first so that you can combine them. So I'm going to start by subtracting the natural log of x minus 1. Now that I have the difference of two logs, I can make that natural log of x over x minus 1. Finally, I'm ready to exponentiate here. I don't have anything but a log on this side, so if I exponentiate with a base of e, it will cancel that out nicely. Again, remember that you're doing e to the 1, exponentiate base e, not 1 to the e. On the left, I'll be left with only the x over x minus 1. On the right, e to the 1 is just plain old e. Okay, so it's no longer a log equation. This is now rational. Even though that e might look kind of scary floating around, it's just the number 2.7-ish. So if I want to solve a rational equation, I want to focus on my x's. And I do have an x in the bottom, which means I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides by x minus 1. I now have an x stuck in parentheses, so I'm going to distribute the e through the parentheses. I think I'm ready finally to get my x's on one side, so I'll subtract an ex. And then once again, I can't combine a 1x with an ex, so I'll factor. Which means I get a negative e over 1 minus e. This should have the non-optional check. So you can, as you're working through your homework, use a calculator to check, but just keep in mind that this is an exam that I won't let you use a calculator on. So we should be able to do sort of a rough check is what I will call it, an approximate check, just by saying, okay, this is in the ballpark of negative 2.7 over 1 minus 2.7, which is negative 2.7 over negative 1.7, which becomes positive. And it's what, a little bit less than 2, it's between 1 and 2. So the numerator of the fraction is bigger than the denominator, which means it's bigger than 1. 1.7 times 2 is a 3.4, so it's smaller than 2. So if we say, okay, I have an answer that's a little bit bigger than 1, it is perfectly legal to take the natural log of that number. It is also legal to take the natural log of that number minus 1. So recognizing that this is a little bigger than 1, really important. If this could possibly be smaller than 1, we'd get in trouble here. So it's looking good, and if you use a calculator to check, you should see that it is in fact good. But just to mention that for the no calculator thing, if you can kind of use that rough idea to decide, is this negative, is it 0, is it smaller than 1, that's good enough.